Have you ever stopped to think about a place where the past and the future meet at every corner? Where every street, every building tells an ancient story, while modernity pulses with unstoppable force at the same time? That's Moscow, a city of contrasts that surprises and captivates anyone who visits. We're not talking just about a political or economic capital, but a city full of mysteries, hidden secrets, and a rare beauty that captures you from every angle. Moscow is, without a doubt, a place where luxury and simplicity coexist. From the golden domes of Orthodox churches to the gleam of contemporary skyscrapers, this city offers a unique experience. But behind this beauty, there's a story full of twists, revolutions, and triumphs. What do you know about the Soviet era? And what do you know about modern-day Moscow, this vibrant and cosmopolitan metropolis that never stops? In this video, we'll explore this Moscow that blends the old with the new, the traditional with the modern. But before we dive in, let me ask you, did you know that Moscow is famous not only for its historical grandeur but also for its women? That's right, the Russian capital is home to some of the most stunning women on the planet, and I'm going to tell you all about them. But before we get there, let's start with the heart of the city, the Kremlin. The Kremlin is the heart of Moscow. It's not just a symbol of Russia, but also the guardian of secrets that date back centuries. Since its construction in the 12th century, the Kremlin has served as the residence of the Tsars, the center of Soviet power, and today as the seat of the Russian government. But what few people know is that it holds much more than just a political legacy. Within its walls, there are imposing churches, hidden treasures, and even intrigues that have shaped the history of the country. Walking through the streets of the Kremlin feels like crossing a line through time. Every building, every tower, every wall holds a fascinating story. It's here that decisions were made that shaped Russia's destiny, from a great imperial power to one of the superpowers of the Soviet bloc and, more recently, a modern nation. And who would have thought that within the walls of the Kremlin, the secrets of a Cold War that divided the world are still stored? But the Kremlin isn't just a relic of political history. It's also a spiritual center with its stunning churches, built over the centuries. With golden domes and sacred icons, stories of conspiracies and political intrigues come to light as you explore every corner, such as assassination attempts, disputes for the throne, and power struggles that defined Russian dynasties. The Kremlin is a place where history is tangible, and where the past and present intertwine in a mysterious way. When it comes to public transport, many think of simple travel from one point to another. But the Moscow Metro is much more than that. It's a true underground masterpiece, a place where history and culture meet in a surprising way. With over 200 stations spread across the city, the Moscow Metro is known not only for its efficiency, but also for its unique beauty, making every ride an unforgettable experience. As you step off at a station, you're immediately transported into a scene of marble, crystal chandeliers, and breathtaking mosaics. Some of the older stations resemble underground palaces, with frescoes celebrating the grandeur of the Soviet Empire and Russia. They were not only designed to be functional, but also to reflect the country's greatness. This vision started in the 1930s when Joseph Stalin decided that the Moscow Metro should be a symbol of power and prosperity. But what many don't know is that beyond its beauty, the Moscow Metro has a deep cultural significance. During the Soviet years, it was seen as a way to showcase the regime's strength and its ability to transform even the most everyday aspects of life. Today, the metro isn't just a means of transport, but a tourist attraction. It's a place where every ride offers a trip through time, a journey through Russia's history, from the Soviet Empire to the modern world. When you board this metro, you're not just traveling from one station to another. You're immersing yourself in culture. Red Square is the beating heart of Moscow. More than just a tourist spot, it's a place full of history, where key moments in Russia's past have taken place. This square, which has been the stage for military parades and political rallies, was also once a major market, where merchants from all over the world would meet to trade and exchange goods. Today, it represents the contrast between Moscow's imperial past and its modern present, a place where history blends with the everyday life of the city. It's not hard to understand why Red Square is so emblematic. Across its vast expanse, you'll find some of Russia's most recognizable icons. The majestic St. Basil's Cathedral, with its colorful and unique domes, Lenin's Mausoleum, which attracts tourists from all over the world, and the imposing State Historical Museum. Moreover, over the years, the square has been a venue for important gatherings, whether for celebrations or protests. Every event that happens there becomes part of Russia's living history. Red Square has also been a symbol of Russia's duality. On one hand, it's associated with the grandeur and power of the Tsars and the Soviet Union. On the other, it's a space for freedom and expression in the modern world, where tourists, locals, and even activists gather. Red Square is a place where commerce and politics intertwine, where the modern and the historic coexist in a fascinating way, making it one of Moscow's most interesting locations. It's here, in the heart of the city, that you begin to understand what it means to live in a city that carries such historical and cultural weight. When the sun sets in Moscow, the city transforms. What once seemed to be a historical and cultural center now reveals its most vibrant and modern side. Moscow at night is an explosion of lights, sounds, and movement, a city that never truly sleeps. Luxurious bars, sophisticated restaurants, and exclusive nightclubs attract a cosmopolitan crowd, keeping the city buzzing well into the early hours. Here, the nightlife is as iconic as its historical monuments. As you walk through Moscow's streets after dark, it feels as if you're in a movie. The lights of the avenues reflect off the gleaming skyscrapers, while bars and clubs offer atmospheres ranging from elegant to trendy. Moscow reveals itself as a nightlife destination for all tastes. From riverside bars with spectacular views of the Kremlin and the Cathedral of Christ the Savior, to underground clubs playing electronic music until dawn, Moscow offers a setting for those seeking limitless fun. But what makes Moscow's nightlife so special is the contrast. While the day brings the grandeur of a historic capital, the night reveals a modern city full of energy. This balance between the classic and the contemporary reflects the very spirit of Moscow, a city unafraid to reinvent itself while preserving its roots. The parties, events, and urban culture of Moscow make it a meeting point for both tourists and locals who seek to have fun and celebrate life without stopping. Moscow is not just a city marked by its architectural grandeur or political history. The Russian capital is also home to one of the greatest examples of female strength and independence in the world. Women in Moscow are famous not only for their stunning beauty, but also for their ability to balance tradition and modernity. They play a vital role in society, in areas ranging from the workforce to politics, and they are undoubtedly one of the main reasons why the city stands out. The beauty of Moscow women is one of the most talked about traits, but their strength and independence are even more impressive. Russia, in general, has one of the highest rates of women active in the workforce. Moscow, being the political and economic center of the country, reflects this reality. They hold prominent positions in companies, universities, and increasingly, in political roles. Additionally, growing gender equality has been one of the pillars of the city's social development. However, Moscow women stand out not only in work and politics. They are also part of a culture that values the balance between professional and personal life. While they conquer their space in the workforce, many still maintain a strong connection to Russian traditions, family, and cultural values. This balance between tradition and modernity is what makes Moscow women symbols of strength, beauty, and equality. They represent the future of a society that is increasingly inclusive and progressive, while still preserving its historical and cultural roots. Lenin's Mausoleum, located in the iconic Red Square, is one of the most visited and controversial sites in Moscow. Lenin's embalmed body, displayed there since 1924, attracts millions of tourists every year, but also sparks debates about its preservation and the future of the figure who represented the Bolshevik Revolution and the birth of the Soviet Union. For many, The mausoleum is a crucial piece of Russian history, a place of respect and memory. For others, it represents a relic of a regime that marked the country with its challenges and contradictions. The embalming process of Lenin and his public display have generated countless theories and speculations over the decades. Since the body remains surprisingly well preserved after nearly a century, questions arise about the methods used and even the ethics of keeping an embalmed body in such a public place. The mausoleum is not only a historical site, but also a point of reflection on the legacy of the Russian Revolution and Lenin himself. In recent years, Lenin's presence in Moscow has been a subject of ongoing debate. Discussions center on whether to preserve or remove Lenin's body from the mausoleum, with some advocating for a more respectful burial, while others believe it should continue to serve as a symbol of what Russia was and what it became. The preservation of Lenin in the heart of the city is a constant reminder of a past era, an era marked by profound transformations and the impact of an ideology that shaped the country's destiny. The mausoleum remains an enigma, a place that carries both reverence and controversy, inviting visitors to question what should be remembered and what should be left behind. If you look at Moscow's skyline, you can't miss the towering buildings that stand out against the sky. Known as the Seven Sisters, these skyscrapers represent one of the most lasting legacies of Stalin's regime. Built between the 1940s and 1950s under Joseph Stalin's direction, these buildings are an example of what became known as socialist architecture, or Stalinist style. Large, monumental, and with austere aesthetics, these towers are not just residential or office spaces, but also symbols of Soviet power and Stalin's ambition to transform Moscow into the capital of a world superpower. These buildings are unmistakable. With their ornate facades, towering spires, and grand details, they dominate Moscow's skyline, especially in the more central areas of the city. Each of the Seven Sisters was designed to exude power and authority. This is not just an ordinary architectural style. It's a visual representation of Soviet dominance over urban space, projecting the grandeur of the Soviet Union to anyone who looked at the city. They are true fortresses of concrete and stone, rising as symbols of a regime that aimed to project the state's power over the people. Today, the Seven Sisters still create divisions between Muscovites and tourists. For many, these buildings are a landmark of Soviet history, a reminder of an era when Moscow was the center of an empire that stretched across large parts of the world. However, we cannot ignore the fact that for others they represent a period of repression, control, and oppression. The monumental nature of Stalinist architecture has a strong emotional impact, a legacy of a regime that changed the course of Russia's and the world's history. The contrast between these buildings and modern Moscow is evident, but it's precisely in this contrast that the city finds its true identity, where the power of the past mixes with the energy of the present. So, what do you think of Moscow? A city that blends history, culture, power, and beauty in a unique way, right? Throughout this video, we've explored the Kremlin, the imposing metro, the famous Red Square, the vibrant nightlife, and, of course, the incredible women of Moscow. Every corner of the city has a story to tell, a secret kept, and a new perspective on the past and future of such a fascinating country. Moscow is, without a doubt, a capital that lives between the old and the new, where every building, every monument, every street carries the weight of history, but also pulses with the energy of the present. If you haven't had the chance to visit yet, I hope you've gotten a taste of how truly unique this city is. And if you liked this video, don't forget to leave a like, comment below on what impressed you the most about Moscow, and of course subscribe to the channel so you don't miss the next videos. Oh, and activate the bell to stay up to date on everything. Your interaction is super important for the growth of the channel, and for me to keep bringing content like this to you. Thank you so much for watching until the end. See you in the next video.